YouTube, what is going on? It's your boy Grizz, and today we're going to be building a team that is in a very interesting situation to say the least, the Denver Broncos. Now, they made two big offseason moves, and they were very surprising, both of them to me even. Number one, they cut Russell Wilson. Now, obviously, everybody knew that Russell Wilson was not going to be on the squad next season, but nobody expected them to cut him and take an $80 million cap hit. Terrible decision, in my opinion. And, I mean, there's teams that are interested in him. Why don't you just call somebody up and at least take a fourth, fifth round pick? That's what I would have done. But, hey, whatever. Not the franchise owner. Number two, they cut Justin Simmons. I know Justin Simmons, he's fallen off a little bit. You know, maybe it saved him. I guarantee you it had to have saved him quite a bit of money or they wouldn't have done it because this guy's been with the squad forever. Never once expressed wanted to leave the team. But, I mean, when you're trying to enter rebuild mode, whether the Broncos want to admit it or not, that's exactly the trend they're heading down. You got to do something, and they made that decision to get rid of him. Chances are they're going to lose Jerry Jeudy and Courtland Sutton. Not necessarily lose them, but they're definitely probably going to be looking to trade them or move on from them. Maybe not Jerry Jeudy, but probably one or the other. It's kind of hard to say. And then defense. I mean, they have a lot that they need to do. This is going to be a very difficult rebuild. To be 100% honest, I'm not exactly going to look to cut Justin Simmons or Russell Wilson. I'll probably look to trade them because if I take that cap hit from either of them, not necessarily Justin Simmons, but if I take the cap hit, this rebuild's going to be nearly impossible. So we're just going to kind of see what I want to do. And yeah, this first season, obviously the season doesn't count. This is technically the NFL season that just happened. So we're just going to kind of hope to get some depth trade upgrades and stuff like that. So let's get right into that and pick it up from there. All right, guys. So here at the end of the first season, we do finish 6-11, which is terrible. But for me, that means that we're going to have a high draft pick. So I'm not complaining one bit. Looking at stat-wise, Russell Wilson had a great year. That's probably Kansas City's offense doing its magic. 14th best offense, but our defense was plumb terrible. Russell Wilson, 4,400 yards, 31 touchdowns, 15 interceptions. Can't complain about that. Javonte Williams, 884 and 8. Can definitely complain about that, and I am going to complain about that because I see him perform for everybody else. Receiving-wise, Jerry Jeudy, 1,209. Greg Dulcich, 1,009. 875 and 5 out of Courtland Sutton, and 839 and 6 out of Marvin Mims. Again, can't complain about any of that. Defensively, Drew Sanders, I did make him the middle linebacker 1 because he's the youngest linebacker on our squad. Definitely want to see him do well. 3 picks, love to see it. Sack-wise, definitely need to get that picked up. And then interceptions, obviously, Drew Sanders and then Pat Surtain. And then everybody else is just kind of mid. So with that being said, we're going to get right into the offseason. Hopefully make some moves, re-sign some people, look to trade Russell Wilson at the draft, and just go from there. All right, guys, so here at the re-sign period, obviously we're 100% going to accept Pat Surtain's option. 100% want to bring back Cushenberry for the remainder of the rebuild. We're going to need to bring him back. Jersey Jewell can walk. Adam Trotman can walk. Jonas Griffith can walk. Fabian Moreau can walk. PJ Locke can also walk. We'll bring him back since he's so young and might be a starter because our team's so terrible. Everybody else can walk. I'm not mad about that. Got about 20 mil heading in the free agency. Hopefully we'll walk into it with a little bit more. Just because I'm going to be looking to obviously get rid of Russell Wilson and Justin Simmons. But aside from that, let me see what I can do trade-wise, and I'll pick it up from there. Man, this is going to hurt even more getting rid of Justin Simmons. He went up to an X factor based off how he performed last season. That's terrible. Man. Might give him better value, though. Same thing for Russell Wilson, goes up to superstar, so I'm not mad about that one bit. Dulcich goes up to superstar, so I'm very pleased to see that. So main objective is obviously move Russell Wilson for at least some picks, maybe a young corner, just kind of see what's out there market-wise, and then bring back Lloyd Cushenberry. That's the big one that I definitely want to do. But for right now, let me see what's out there for Wilson, and I'll pick you up if we see a trade. So there are only two teams that were actually interested in Russell Wilson. Those two teams being the Jets and the Buccaneers, and there was nothing I could work out to even make the cap room work for either of those two teams. So called up the Patriots. They were the only team that can afford him. I think he would fit in well for the Patriots for the next couple of years. They weren't interested in him whatsoever, so we just took a third-round pick to kind of get him off our squad, look to build for the future, and hopefully, maybe draft someone who might be better. And now we'll try to trade Justin Simmons. I wouldn't be terribly upset to keep him for another year because I think the Broncos messed up by getting rid of him. So let me see what I want to do here. Alright guys, as much as this does hurt to let go of Justin Simmons, I think I got a great haul for him. We pick up Nico Collins to kind of replace Courtland Sutton, who I'll also be looking to move on from, just for age of receiver type deal, and then Jalen Petrie to replace Justin Simmons. Obviously not nearly as good as Justin Simmons is currently, but a guy that's young and will develop very nicely for the squad. Alright guys, so obviously getting rid of Justin Simmons and Russell Wilson. I cleared the cap penalties because, again, if you guys watch any of my videos, you know damn well that I cannot manage the cap whatsoever. So just getting rid of $70 million, a cap hit for like the next 2 years, would be killer. But with that 70 mil, we made a huge splash in free agency. First off, we got Cameron Curl, obviously a beast. Typically you don't see him here, so I was very surprised to see a strong safety here. But gonna slide right in. 25 years old, signed to a 7-year deal. As expected, he's gonna be here the whole rebuild. Bryce Huff is another guy. He wasn't interested in the squad, but I didn't even have to increase the salary much. I think it increased it like 0.4 mil, and he's here for the remainder of the rebuild. Brought Lloyd Cushenberry back. That was one of the things that I really wanted to do. And brought in Jeff Okudah to kind of be that cornerback 2 for us. Might even be cornerback 3, depending on what we can get in the draft. Obviously, the main objective of the draft is to get a quarterback, but these 4 guys are going to fill in very nicely for us. I did go after Josh Allen. I'm curious as to where he went. The Raiders, so our division rival took the man right out from under us. That's terrible. But, ooh, the Panthers get Austin Eckler. That's cool. But, it kind of is what it is. We can go, obviously, we'll have to like Drew Tranquil and people like that, but I'm cool with our middle linebackers. I'm not mad. Yeah, and I guess aside from that, that's all we really need. I don't need a wide receiver, obviously. I don't need a strong safety. We just got one. Quarterback, these guys are wanting far too much money for what they're worth. Maybe Gardner Minshew to be a backup, wouldn't be mad, but I can sign someone in free. After the season starts if I needed to, I guess. So hopefully there's a good prospect in the draft. If not, we're going to be kind of screwed. Our receivers aren't going to be happy with us. So going to kind of see what's available. Might look to move up, leveraging Courtland Sutton. Might not. Just going to kind of see here. Alright guys, so here at 7, there are 3 guys that I'm looking at. Simon Scott. You can see his physicals right here. Top 5, I feel like it's a bit of a stretch, but who knows. Randall Glenn, here's his stats. And then Ben Nash, look at those stats. We're taking Ben Nash, hidden depth trait, hopefully going to be our QB of the future. And then here in the 3rd round, with our next pick, the interest for Courtland Sutton right now is not there. So I'm not worried about trying to make a trade for him. But we're going to see what I'm going to pick here with the 3rd pick and move on from that. Alright guys, and then here in the 3rd round, I got exactly what I wanted. I feel like it's a steal. Dylan Stewart here, he was ranked like the #1 defensive tackle in a lot of the stats, and he had elites across the board. I don't really know if he's going to be like a high overall per se, but he definitely looked good. And then right here, I might look to pick up a corner. If something's available, obviously. I'm not going to make a big stretch. Marginal strength, elite jumping, great speed, great excel, hidden depth trait, 93 speed. Welcome Devontae Favors to the squad. And obviously just to put some clarification on stuff, because I know a lot of people watch my videos, not a lot of people, but a few people, and don't really comment, ask, but all of my, no, I don't want to quit. My draft class is all on normal. Used to not be, and I decided to kind of take a step back and actually try to make it a little more realistic. Nothing crazy, just your normal stuff. What do we want to take here? I'll have to think about that for a second. Well, if we're gonna have such a big hit on corners, we just did. Alright, normal dev trait, but he might be a good one. And then aside from that, I think we're set. Let's go ahead and send to the other draft and see how our players are. Alright guys, so a pretty solid draft class. Ben Nash is going to come in and be the same overall as Russell Wilson, just like 80 years younger. So not mad about that one bit. Dylan Stewart's going to come in and start. Mike Purcell is only a 70 overall, so very happy about this. Devontae Favors is a 68 overall, so not very great. But Brian Means, the guy that we drafted right behind him, is a 70. But I might throw Devontae Favors in like maybe the slot. Might not. Just kind of depends on how our corners look. I don't know exactly what we were left with. And then it's just some other mid people that the CPU drafted for us. Nobody that's sending it much playing time. But with that being said, I'm going to go ahead and head into the preseason. Set the roster. Might look to trade Courtland Sutton. Might just hold him until some people figure out their cap situation if they do. And send to at least mid-season so we can re-sign some people. Alright, so threw Courtland Sutton back up in the trade finder. There was a pretty big market for him this time. I'd say pretty big market. There were 3 teams interested. The Cardinals originally offered us Jalen Thompson, who is obviously a beast, but we have Jalen Petrie and Cameron Curl, so we didn't exactly need him as much as I would have liked to have taken him. So I just took a 2nd and 3rd round pick from him, build up the draft capital a little bit because I know they're still depleted from the Seahawks trade for Russell Wilson, so kind of rebuilding that a little bit. And they wouldn't give us a 1st round pick as much as I wanted them to. And I think the next guy, Tim Patrick, he might have a little bit of value. He does not, but the Colts are at least a little interested in him. So I'm going to see what I can do, and then we'll get to Simmons. Alright guys, so at the end of season number 2, we finished with an 8-9 record, which is very unfortunate because actually at the mid-season mark where I did a bunch of re-signing, obviously the boring stuff, we were 5-2. So definitely took a pretty big tumble post mid-season. But Ben Nash had a great season, had the 11th best offense in the league. Defense had a little bit of an improvement, not crazy, but decent. 4,400 yards, 31 touchdowns, but 20 interceptions. Hopefully he can get that down, but getting rid of his rookie woes, so hopefully that improves. We need more yardage out of Javonte. We got to do something. Receiving-wise, Nico Collins, 1,313. Dual kick, 1,109. Marvin Mims, 8-11-2. And then Jerry Jeudy was 7-6-3. So very pleased with this. And then defensively, Drew Sanders had another amazing year. Alex Singleton also had a great year, 7 TFLs for both. Baron Browning with 20 TFLs. I am very pleased that we brought him back. That should be enough for a depth chart upgrade, you would hope. Zach Allen with 8 sacks, 4.5 out of Drew Sanders, 3.5 out of Baron Browning, 2.5 out of Dylan Stewart, 2 out of DJ Jones, and 1.5 out of Bryce Huff. That's got to improve. 5 picks for Pat Surtain, 3 out of Cam Curl, 2 out of Jeff Okudah, and then 1 apiece for 3 other guys. Not mad about that. I forgot to check the awards last time, but it was pretty clear we didn't get anything. Nothing right there. AFC Offensive Player of the Year. We got Nico Collins coming in at number 9. Okay. Defensive Player of the Year, we got nobody. Offensive Rookie of the Year, Ben Nash takes that, so that's a guaranteed depth chart upgrade from at least where he was. Defensive Rookie of the Year, we didn't have anybody. And yeah, but I mean, shoot, at least Ben Nash is going to get a depth chart upgrade. So I'm very pleased with that. Not pleased with the fact that we didn't make the playoffs, but as you can see here, we have $76 million in cap room. So let's go ahead and spend some of that money. Alright guys, so here in free agency, I know I'm not typically one to really go after some vets, but we're getting to a point that we need to start winning. So I brought in Chidobe Awuzie. He was the guy that wanted to come in on a 1-year deal, kind of just a sign and plug and play. Superstar dev trade, 85 overall. Love to see it. Matthew Judon was also here. He has a superstar X factor. Went ahead and popped him a little 2-year deal. After this season, we can always cut him or trade him. Mainly because we lost our left outside linebacker. He's like a 75 overall, so this is a huge upgrade at both positions for us. This will move Jeff Okudah down to the corner 3, but he performed just fine last season, so I see no problems there. And then aside from that, I mean, Brandon Ayuk was here, but we don't need him. We don't need Mixon. We don't even need an old lineman. I mean, do we need Bitonio? No, we don't need Bitonio. So with that being said, guys, we're going to go ahead and get into the draft, see what's available. If I'm not pleased with anything, we'll trade our first round pick. But we're going to see at least first. Let's actually look. How does our lineup look? Oh, man, wait. Am I saying that right? Sorry, my color's a little weird. Greg Dulcich and Nash are superstar X-Factors. Yep, I am seeing that right. This is the first time I've honestly ever seen Nico Collins get a depth trait upgrade. I use him a ton, and typically he stays at normal depth trait regardless of how he performs. So we love to see that. Let's go ahead and generate best lineup. Heck yeah. Why are you guys mad? Probably because we missed the playoffs and we shouldn't have. Defensively, Petrie is up to a superstar. I don't think he was a superstar whenever we first got him. Okudah stays. Everybody else stays. Stewart's a star, but he is a 76 overall, so we'll take that 100%. Sanders stays at a star. Might want to pick up a middle linebacker too. Might just draft one to be 100% honest. Please, the defense is progressing nicely. With that first round pick, if we don't like what's there, might sign it. I mean, trade for an elite pass rusher, or might just trade for an elite middle linebacker 2 or middle linebacker 1. So, just get in the draft and kind of see what's there, guys. Alright, guys. I said I wanted an elite middle linebacker and an elite defensive tackle. We did just that. We picked up Vita Vea and Devin White for our first and second. Obviously not cool with getting rid of the second, but hey, it kind of is what it is. I mean, you get 2 of the best players at their position. I think Devin White is extremely underrated, and Vita Vea is just a beast. I mean, everyone knows what he can do. So, definitely pleased with that. We did have a couple picks. We're going to let the CPU kind of see who they want to draft. Hopefully they snag us a gym. If not, we'll just move on with our lives. But, going to look at the draft recap and then get ready for season number 3. What are we looking at? CPU? What'd you get us? Trash. Well, Connor Rhodes, 74 overall left guard. Might move in, might not. I don't know how our O-line's looking. I know our O-line's very strong. The Broncos do have a great O-line, even in real life. So let's see. Manage roster here. Let's go to adjust lineup. No, Ben Powers can stay where he's at. I'm okay with that. Heck yeah. Very happy with this. Alright, specialist wise, obviously you have Nico Collins going to stay right where he's at. Javonte Williams hopefully have a better season. Okudah performed very well at slot corner last season, so we'll let him stay. This is going to be very solid, this right here. Sub linebacker, Drew Sanders has been playing fine. I don't really want to mess with that. Devin White is a beast, but I like Drew Sanders. I want him to keep progressing. But with that being said, send the mid-season and kind of see what happens. Alright guys, so here at the end of season number 3, we finished with a 10-7 record, and that was good enough to get us into the wild card. We are taking on the 13-4 Baltimore Ravens, but as you guys know, anything can happen. Let's look at the stats real quick. We finished with the 16th best offense. A little bit of a regression there, but still not bad. Middle of the pack. Defense took a big jump up to 14th, so we'll take that. Ben Nash definitely improved the interceptions. 4,100 yards, 35 touchdowns, only 6 picks. Love to see it. Rushing-wise, Javonte finally eclipsed 1,000 yards and double-digit touchdowns. Receiving-wise, Dulcich was our leading receiver. Tight end, 1,100 yards and 10, 1,010 out of Nico, 805 and 3 out of Marvin Mims, 627 and 5 out of Jerry Jeudy, and Javonte Williams added 4 and 500. Defensively, Drew Sanders had a great season, even Devin White. Sack-wise, we finally got somebody with double-digit sacks in Vita Vea. Judon followed out with 6.5. Sanders was 6. Zach Allen was 6. Okay. Love to see it. Cam Curl had 4 interceptions. Okuda had 3. 2 for Drew Sanders, 2 for Awuzie, and Surtain only had 1. Come on, Pac-Man. What are you doing? Or Pac, or whatever. Nash comes in at number 9 for MVP. Offensive Player of the Year, Pat Mahomes takes it, and no Broncos there. Okay. Defensive Player of the Year, Drew Sanders comes in at number 7. Love to see that over Young Stud. Offensive Rookie of the Year didn't have anybody, and the Defensive Rookie of the Year also didn't have anybody, so wasn't expecting anything there. Now, for what matters, can we beat the Baltimore Ravens here in the wild card? We don't. We lose by 10. Definitely don't like seeing that, but it kind of is what it is. At least we made the playoffs in year number 3. Let's pick it up in year number 4 and hopefully get a ring. If not, at least we made the playoffs, which is not the trend the Broncos seem to be heading down as of late. So we've already done better than Sean Payton and the Broncos organization. So we'll take it. All right, guys. So free agency literally amounted of me signing Zach Allen back because he wanted to be stubborn. So obviously we're heading into our last year. Our first round pick is not going to be very beneficial for us. So let's pick up someone to replace Bryce Huff because Bryce Huff has been deplorable for us. And DeMarcus Lawrence. Love to see it. And this is honestly what I typically do to see what we can get. So Dual Kick's been doing too well. I can't do that to him. You don't need a linebacker. I mean, I guess we can replace. There we go. And we're also going to bring in Joey Porter to be our CB2. Or actually, probably, yeah, he's definitely going to be CB2. Let's see if we get anything else. And then we're just going to roll with it. Montez Sweat would be solid. I don't want to replace Zach Allen, but it's going to be hard to say no to someone like Montez Sweat. That's what we're doing. Montez Sweat, welcome to the squad. There we go. All right, guys, let's sim the draft, and I'll see you guys before we start with our last season. All right, guys, head into the last season. This is what squad's looking like. Our rookie quarterback, who's obviously not a rookie anymore, but he's up to an 89, 91 with morale boost. We have a superstar fullback. Didn't realize that. Our line's still solid. Obviously, Dual Kick's up to an X factor. Would have liked to see at least one of these 3 go up to at least superstar, but I mean, it kind of is what it is. At least Dual Kick's getting some love. And then defensively, we have 4 X factors. Obviously, Judon, Vita Vea, DeMarcus Lawrence, and Pat Surtain. Zach Allen is playing backup as a superstar, but this quad is rock solid. If we don't go somewhere, I'm going to be very disappointed. So we're going to roll with. I'm going to let Devin White try to run sub linebacker, see if he can do better than Zach Allen. Drew Sanders. So send to the playoffs, and hopefully we're in it. Let's get a first round bye, guys. Come on. All right, guys. Honestly, quite a disappointing season. We only went 10-7. I was expecting a lot more, but there is room to make up. We at least made it to the wild card, taking on the Colts in that. 10th best offense, not bad. Maybe could have improved the O-line a little bit. 6th best defense. I mean, the squad performed. What happened? Ben Nash threw 4 more interceptions. Get the man out of here. Get him out of here. That's exactly what happened. Nah, it shouldn't have been. Javonte eclipsed 1,000 again. That's what happened. Greg Dual Kick wasn't a 1,000-yard tight end. Jesus, why we quit targeting the man? Nico Collins at least hit over 1,000. Great seasons out of these guys. Montez Sweat with 15. DeMarcus Lawrence with 12. That's what we wanted. Pat Surtain said, hey, man, I got you. Came up and got 5 picks. So we're just going to ignore it. We're going to ignore our record. And it's a whole new season. Let's take the Colts out here in the wild card. Oh, my gosh. We didn't even make it out of the wild card within... Oh, my gosh. Well, guess that's it for the video, guys. If you enjoyed, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. Obviously a very disappointing end, but like I said previously, we made it further than the Broncos probably will in the next 4 years. So, yep. Comment what team you want to see next. I'll look over the comments and hopefully have a rebuild out tomorrow or the next day. Take it easy.